Hi, hello, g'day, kia ora, welcome to the studio and welcome to the first prompt response for Dephemerember 2024. Thank you for joining me here today. I hope you are crafting along while you are watching me. I'm going to run through sort of what I'm going to use, so if you want to, by all means, pause the video after that, go and grab some stuff, and then we can create along together. So the first prompt on our prompt list for the second is altered playing card and antique keys. So the first thing we are going to need is, of course, a playing card, and I've got a couple here, and some antique keys. I've got them in here. Also in here I've got some jump rings and some chain that I'm not sure if I'm going to use or not. There are a couple of things on here that I've got extras just to show you different options. I'm not going to use absolutely everything on here. So, card, keys, important things. We've got some book pages here, and I've got both whole book pages and scraps. Scraps are perfectly fine. You don't need to use whole book pages. And what you may find is that this is something that you can make quite a few of at once. So if you start with whole pages, they may very quickly they will very quickly become scraps. So just bear that in mind, because it is kind of addictive. I've got some sandpaper, which I've cut the sheets up. But you can also use like any kind of sanding discs that you've got. Even emery boards will do the trick. I've got some patterned paper. I've got 3 or 4 pieces here, and I pick them where there's a lot of writing on them, because that's the kind of thing I quite like when I'm using pattern pieces for this type of project. I've got a tearing ruler just in case I need it, and scissors. Again, it's probably going to be either or. I'm thinking the tearing ruler, but I've got the scissors just in case. So we'll put those out of the way for now. I've got some decoupage glue, and I've also got some art glitter glue. If you've only got one, stick with whatever you've got. I just like the decoupage where I'm doing like gluing tissue on over a wider surface. I just prefer it. But use your art glitter glue if that's what you've got, or PVA, entirely up to you. I've got a paintbrush for my decoupage glue. I've got a couple of ink applicators and distress ink in walnut stain and ground espresso. I've also got some archival ink, and that's just in jet black. I've got a cutting knife. I've got some pliers, and I've also got a jump ring because I like this for opening my jump rings. I just find it's easier. I've got an edge distresser. Not sure if I'm going to use that or not, but always handy to have. I've got a date stamp because I promised myself that I was going to stamp the days on that that they're for, in case I forget to note down which prompt they are. And then I've also got some waxes, and I've got a selection here of different waxes, and these are just what I have in my stash. If you've got different waxes, then by all means use those, or if you don't have that waxes, then you can use, for instance, metallic paints or metallic inks. There's different options there, you know, plenty that you can use. And then I've pulled out some scraps from my swap, and this is what my partner Tanya sent me, and that's because I'm going in for the challenge of using at least one scrap in every prompt response. So I'm just pleased I remembered to get something out. And then the last thing we'll need, at least I think it's the last, is of course our journal. And I am so looking forward to putting my first prompt response in here. But for now, that can go and sit to the side. So I'll just shift everything out of the way so I've got a surface to work on. Now I'm starting off with a cutting mat down and my card and a knife. What I'm going to do is cut around here very gently. So I'm just going to follow the marks of the spade as closely as I can. And we're out. So we now have a centerless spade. So we'll put our knife away, and I will probably hold on to this for something else. They can go in my scrap bin. Yeah, I need to start one, so I'll be starting one up for this project. Right, so we've got this, we've cut out our center. That's all we need the cutting board for. I'm just going to lightly sand a little bit of the surface here. I wanted to take off some of the gloss. It's reasonably matte, but also helps with making sure that everything is going to stick onto the surface. I'm just stressing it a wee bit, taking down the colour and the printing. And then I'm just going to use a only mildly damp wet wipe to clear away all my dust, because there's nothing worse than a dusty surface. Oops, there goes my butterfly. That was telling me where the centre of the table was. Never mind. The idea was there. So we've sanded this down. That feels good. I like that. Right, so now what we are going to do is we're going to apply our paper. So I'm just going to pull out some scraps here. I've got, doesn't matter what shape or size they are, but I'm going to try and get like a mix of different fonts. Yeah, different paint. These are manual. Maybe some book music. Right, so that, and then I found this. Right, I found this book here. Right, so that should be more than enough. Well and truly, I've got enough to cover the card about 7-8 times over. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue. To be honest, I'm just going to kind of spread a little bit on. And it's just going to be in random patches. The only place that I want to make sure I get is up in this corner here. So I'm going to put a patch of glue on, rub it in with my finger, and then what book page do we want? Let's go with this one. So we're going to stick that up there. Doesn't need to be straight. Now we're going to do a little bit more around kind of here, and that was a little bit not enough glue there, I don't think, Paula. And now we're going to put some of this, actually some of this dictionary page should be enough. And I'm making sure that as I stick the book page on, I'm going beyond where the glue is. And then we're going to put a third patch down here and kind of take it up the side there. Right, that's it. Put my pin in there so that that doesn't block up again. In there, and then where's another thin bit of book page? Have we got that one? No, we haven't got that one. So let's just tear that off and put that in there. Right, so like I said, I had way more paper than I needed, but it was all about showing you, like, giving you different ideas for what you can do. I've used reasonably light paper for no other reason than that's what I've got. But try, experiment, see what you like, and play around with your different scrap papers that you've got. Right, so I'm going to give this a wee blast just so that we can carry on. But you can, if you're making like quite a few, by the time you've done, you know, sort of 10 cards, you may find that the first one is dry and ready to go. Now, you don't have to use different book pages. You can use the same book page and put down your glue in 3 different patches, 1 page over the lot, and that will do. It's entirely up to you, whatever takes your fancy. I'm just like giving you ideas. That's the main thing that I want to get out of this, is to be able to give you ideas. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take one of the edges, and what we want to do is kind of tear back and tear off any excess. You don't want to tear too much, but we are tearing around the edges and also any bits that haven't been glued. So what I'm doing is, you can see there that I'm actually lifting up some of the text. So from some of it, like here, we're actually seeing what's on the reverse side of the page, not on the top. So if we do the same here, we're going to tear here, and we want to leave some of it so that we're seeing the original. And don't worry about bits hanging off, because we'll sort that out in a minute. So there we go. So you can see in here, that's some of the bits from underneath, which is why the text looks like it is reversed. Now this one, yep, so look, the lighter the page or the paper that you're using, the easier it is to tear. I mean, this particular one tore really easily. Grab our sandpaper again, either sanding disc or emery board, and what we're going to do is just sand on the edges to pull off any of these excess bits. So it's a quick and easy way to get a really nice edge on your projects. And it's all done. So we'll just, those scraps might be a little bit too small for us to use. So we've got our paper on there now. So what we're going to do is now colour the card with our distress inks. So I'm going to do the walnut stain first, and I'm going to go over my entire card, but particularly focusing on where these patches of book paper are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a bit of a polish, just using a paper towel or tissue, just because it's a shiny card and I know that the ink doesn't kind of soak in like it does onto paper. It just kind of sits there. Plus it kind of adds to the look of it. And you can see we're really bringing up the scratches there. So now I'm going to use the ground espresso, because this is just a little bit darker, and I'm really just kind of focusing on the edges first. So we've got that. So it's looking quite distressed there now. Looking really cool and distressed. We're going to kick it up a notch. So this is where we're bringing in our pattern pieces. So now you want a piece that's going to like more than, you know, plenty to cover your card. And so I'm going, because I kind of want there, I'm just going to trim it across here. And again, I'll put that, the excess will go into my scrap stash. So I mean, that's like, you know, roughly 4 times as big, I'm guessing. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter. Do it as big as you want. So then we're going to screw it up, which is always fun. And you can do it as much as you want. If you want to do it more, do it more. You can spread it out as much as you like. I like it, you know, kind of crinkly and all over itself. So I'm going to leave mine kind of half. You can like spread it out and put it on like that. or take it to one side and then, you know, use what you want. But I'm going to leave it kind of crunched up a wee bit because I want some extra texture in there. And so this is where we're going to use our decoupage glue. And hopefully I've got some left in the bottle. I should have shaken it first with the cap closed. Next time, Paula. Right, so there we go. That should hopefully be enough. If I clean up everything that's all over the table. Now, of course, putting on this glue is going to activate some of the distress ink again. That's fine because it's going to soak up into the tissue anyway. So, right, that's covered. I've still got some left for the next step. Right, now I'm going to kind of put that down. And I'm just using my fingers to press it down. I've got pretty good there. So now I'm going to spread some more of the decoupage glue over the top because I'm wanting to make sure that everything is well and truly stuck down. I'm going to dry this. I mean, if you're making bulk of them, then you could like do this and like do production line and glue a whole lot together, then leave them all to sit and dry together. So we'll dry that off and then we should be ready for the next step. Okay, so when your glue has dried, cut around the edges of the card. Now I'm going close to the edge but not exactly on the edge because I'm going to finish off these edges with my nail file again, just because I think it does a better finish than me trying to cut it. So now we're gonna, you could leave the center in if you wanted to, but we're gonna cut it out. So I'm gonna do it cut through from this side so I can see it better. And again, I'm just cutting just inside the line, or the edge of the card, I should say. Okay, that looks pretty good now that it's all sanded. We're going to just put this ground espresso around the edge again. So now that we've inked the edge, we're going to catch the highlights of the texture of that tissue paper And this is kind of where you can pick which wax you want to use. So I've got the metallic alchemy waxes. I've got some of the, so these are the pottle ones, and these are like a creamy one. And I think what I'm going to do is, I think I might use, actually no, I'm going to use this one here because I love this colour. And then maybe one of the, use some of the brass as well. So you just need a little bit on your finger. And then we are just going to very lightly skim across the top, catching those highlights. So you don't need very much at all. I'm barely putting any wax and even less pressure onto here to catch the highlights. So there we go. There's our altered card. Doesn't that look awesome? So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a side tuck, and we're going to use our key for a page tab. But first of all, what we need is our scraps here. So yeah, okay, right, so we're going to do that first. Now, because it is washi and because we are putting it onto, actually you'll go across that way, putting it onto something that's got like wax and all sorts of things, I'm going to put glue on there. Just to not stick it to myself. And so we're going to bring it across a wee way. Right, so there. So that. Now we're going to, oops, I should have left the pin out. We want to glue kind of there. So in which case we're going into that corner. There. Now I need, because that hessian is quite thick, I'm going to use my crafter's glue. Didn't think about that before. I should have grabbed it out earlier. And now we just want a little bit on this side here. Not too much at all, because I don't want it going through. Alright, that looks cool. Now we can finish off that. Oh, And just about use the glue coming through, I think, because yeah, the glue is coming through. Oh, look at that. Right, that looks pretty cool. So just a little bit of, so all I'm wanting is just a little bit of texture underneath it. So now, before I glue this on, and I wanted a key that kind of looked royal because of it being about cards and like the king and queen, and that's where my mind went. So that's going to sit across there. What to do first is some of this and some of this. So right. Okay, so we're going to try this matte medium. I'm just not sure if there's anything left in this bottle. That's my problem. And look, we've picked the right bottle. It's always a good sign. So now this one I will need to set aside and leave to dry, so I'll do that overnight. And I'm just going to sit that there. Because we want that to adhere really well. Okay, so now what we're going to do with the rest, so in here I've been through all my keys. Actually, if I put them up like this, hopefully you can see. So I've been through all my keys, and I found 4 little ones where I've got a diamond, a club, a heart, and a spade. So hopefully you can see that there. So I thought I would put the 4 of those off the end of here. So right, so we've got there 4 dangles there. Don't know where I was actually showing that to. Somewhere way off here. I may, I'm going to contemplate this. I may actually just put them all on one jump ring. I'm not sure. But I kind of like, because I like them all there. But that just looks too busy. So, yeah, that's one of these things where I need to see it to know what I want to do. Leave that to dry, and then we will, oh, no, one more thing we wanted to do was, I thought I'd use one of these little wee phrases. Now, Tanya tells me, I think these are Tim Holtz stamps. And the one that appealed to me the most was, it's all perspective. Because I thought, because of that little wee hole there, that, you know, seems somewhat appropriate. So now, do we want to tear that out? Or do we want to cut it out? Maybe cut. So we're going to leave a bit of space. That's better. Now, so where is our, let's bring our walnut stain in. Quite like that. I think that looks awesome. Alright. Now we need to find, I know it's still going to dry overnight, but now we need to find a page for us to put it on. So here we go, journal. It is time for your first prompt to going in. Now I've got a couple of pages tagged already, just for as I've been planning things. I want them to go on those specific pages, but other than those two, at this stage, there is no plans whatsoever for anything. So, I was wondering, what about there? Because we can bring that now, because we were going to have it hanging out over the edge, weren't we? So, and then that is a tuck spot there. So what do we reckon? Question is, how far is it going to stick out over the edge? That's what I want to know. Okay, so yep, no, that's fine. As long as we're lining it up with there, it's not going to be outside the journal. Oh, no. Yep, so what I'm going to do with this is just along the side here of the playing card, we're going to glue, and then our tuck spot will be finished. So here we go, and I'm going to make it a little bit thicker than what I normally do. And keeping the keys out of the way so that I don't stick them down as well. And we need to stick that on. Get the keys out the way. Press and hold for a wee minute. Make sure there's no glue coming out the side. And what I might do is clamp it down just while it dries. Only I've been a good girl and cleaned up and moved all of my clamps. Okay, well I will go dig out some clamps and hold that together, but I think that looks awesome. I love it. Love it. And I think they're going to be really cool. I'll include some pictures at the end once this is dried, and we'll know then whether I've taken all the jump rings out and put them on one or left them like this, because I'm still looking at it, but love it, love it. Oh, now what we needed to do was date stamp. Do it maybe along there, and that looks quite cool. Yes. Love it. Love, love, love it. Okay, I am a happy camper. Anything like this, whether it's just a card or with the keys as well off the side, then let me know. I'd be interested to see what it looks like. Okay, happy crafting. See you back in the craft room. Bye for now.